and thus the WCW invasion begins. I'm John Renton with the retro review of WWE King of the Ring 2001. Okay, if you want to split hairs, Hugh Morris and Lance Storm showed up on previous WWE programs, but this is when things started to be put into place where WCW was going to invade WWE, and man, that whole invasion thing didn't work out really well, did it? It's unfortunate because there was quite a bit of talent, but none of the big guys wanted to come over because they had guaranteed money from AOL Time Warner, and I don't blame them for wanting to sit at home and collect those fat paychecks, because honestly, I would have too. Even as much as I loved wrestling, I would have loved money more at that point. So I do want to announce right here, due to popular demand and because so many people loved my last year of WCW 2000-2001 reviews, that I am going to review the entire Invasion timeline. Okay, just from King of the Ring 2001 to the Raw After Survivor Series 2001, because why not? I managed to sit through and endure and somehow survive the last year of WCW, so I can survive 5 months of WWE programming that was up and down and all around, and come on, defense work. Can't be that bad, right? Right? I remember it. It was pretty goddamn bad. But I'm looking forward to revisiting some of these pay-per-views. And this was actually a pretty damn good King of the Ring pay-per-view overall. There were some dips, but the tournament matches felt big. The last two matches were really fucking incredible. That street fight still holds up to this very day. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also let me know what you think. What do you think of the Invasion angle some 20 years later? Are you excited to see me lose my goddamn mind retro reviewing it? I mean, hell, why not? Why not have some fun? Anyway, so we get a video package of every big match with glitchy stuff and an electric chair set. And it's kind of cool to have the pyro go off. And man, that must have been a hell of a goddamn set to build. It's like a giant ogre is going to sit on it. Anyway, 17,000 some odd people, about 18,000 people, depending on what you believe. Like, it was a really big amount of people because they were a pretty damn lively crowd. In the Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which I always screw up trying to pronounce. And the heat match, by the way, was Matt Hardy with Lita versus Justin Credible of X Factor for the European Championship. Matt retained. Matt actually had a pretty decent European Championship run that not that many people remember because the European title after British Bulldog lost it, even though there were some good champions, they stopped caring about it because Shawn Michaels pummeled the goddamn credibility of the title into the dirt because he won it from British Bulldog at one night only, 1997, even though Bulldog wanted to win it and show his sister, who was dying of cancer, that he could do this and he was going to do this for her. And yeah, poor British Bulldog got screwed over. That was really something, wasn't it? So anyway, back to this. JR and Heyman on commentary. DDP shows up. Remember how they could have brought DDP in as, like, the New Jersey Triad DDP, or, the People's Champion that started out so goddamn late age-wise in his career and rose up and everything, and despite all injuries, he got over. He was the People's Champion in WCW. He was so over. Three-time WCW Champion, U.S. Champion, Master of the Diamond Cutter, the King of Bada Bean, all that goddamn stuff, the King of the Battle Bowl Ring. Remember how they could have brought him in with a whole bunch of other gimmicks, and they brought him in as the Undertaker's wife's stalker. My fucking goodness. If that isn't a goddamn indication that Vince McMahon had no desire to push anybody from WCW, I don't know what is. There are many rumors and stuff like that that go around about why DDP wasn't featured all that well. I tend to believe that Vince just got wind that, somebody didn't really like DDP, and, they decided to just bury him for no reason. Or because he had that WCW stigma. I don't know, maybe Vince didn't like the pink Cadillac he drove at Mania 6. I have no goddamn idea. But anyway, he says, well, he's going to show more footage of, Sarah Taker, well, Sarah Calloway, but they didn't say Calloway there. That was the PG footage, not the X-rated footage that I have. Trying to make it like Pillman and Marlena with Triple X files. And actually, that was really good shit. Damn shame about Pillman. Back to this. He says he will be the first WCW guy to step into Madison Square Garden in a WWE ring. I'll be the guy in front row with a sign, "Make me famous." DDP against The Undertaker wasn't the worst goddamn idea. This was a major uphill battle, and then they made it even worse by the end of the night. Because DDP had been filming Sarah, and being voyeuristic and all that stuff and everything. Almost like Jimmy Stewart's character in Rear Window, just, not quite as voyeuristic, and without the great direction of Alfred Hitchcock. Just ignore everything that Hitchcock did outside of his movies, or at least outside of being a great filmmaker. If you know, you know. So we have Kirk Angel versus Christian. So Christian, at last you're on your own. Semi-final match. And actually, I don't think he was, I don't think he was Golden Shower Christian yet. Gross. Kurt Angle was going to work 3 matches on this evening, and he wanted to become a back-to-back King of the Ring winner. He was going to have the semifinal match, the King of the Ring final match, and then he was going to face Shane McMahon in a street fight. Angle started off hot. There's Let's Go Angle chants, even though Angle's supposed to be the heel, or maybe he's supposed to be the face. I'm trying to remember the timeline here because people were flip-flopping so goddamn much. Christian did get a nice heel kick, and then Shane showed up to distract. And then the referee, there was like, some goofiness with a lot of referees on this night. We get the unprettier, but Shane pulls Christian out. Gross. And then over the ropes, Angle slam 1, 2, 3. So basically, if Angle had lost, he wouldn't have worked that second match. And Shane did that to extend Kurt Angle. Brilliant strategy. Nice storytelling. So JR and Heyman debate about what happened and whether Benoit or Jericho, they're going to be in a triple threat match later, will defect to WCW. You know, that company that's dead that Vince bought the assets of, and nobody believed that WCW was going to actually be a company that was going to stick around. It was just a brand that was absorbed into WWE programming. Even at 20 years old, it was like, okay, all these fantasy matchups, all these guys aren't coming. Cool. We can still have some good matchups. And even by the Invasion pay-per-view that was really goddamn successful that I'll retro review here in a few weeks, that pay-per-view should have worked so much better than it. That should have launched the damn thing to going for at least another year. I remember like 5 years ago, I fantasy booked the Invasion angle when I was really just starting to roll on the channel, and I think I did a better job even if it was from a fan's perspective. So anyway, Austin was interviewed by Coach about whether Benoit or Jericho would defect to WCW if they won the WWE Championship. And he's trying to call Vince, contact Vince and everything. And there's Deborah, knowing what would happen about a year later. Oh dear. So we then get footage of Taker and the Taker DDP angle. Like the Diamond Cutter, you never saw it coming. God damn, this is such a fucking bad thing. With Ray's old WCW music, that amused me. So, Heyman interviews DDP at ringside, and we see footage of DDP being filmed. How dare they invade my personal life? Classic heel stuff. DDP was doing the best he could to make this work. It didn't work, but he was doing his best. Edge versus Rhino, semifinal match. Edge, CNR, they explode, and basically there were ECW champions. There were ECW champs. Technically, Rhino was the final ECW World and TV champion. And Rhino uses power and target the ribs, and he did scissor Edge at one point. The man be scissoring Edge from behind. You think you know him. So sunset flip off the top for 2. We get a gore, spear, spot, and then we get the impaler 1, 2, 3. So there we go. Edge moves on. Spike needs to find a tag partner. He said this on Heat. And it's a big surprise. The Dudleys confront him and said, oh, your big surprise. It's pretty obvious since big surprise, and we haven't seen anybody else on the show. And if you look at well, if you didn't know who it was, sorry, 20 years from now I'm going to spoil. It's Kane. It's Kane. It's Kane. And they had a match. They had a match for the tag titles. But first, Jericho disses the WCW rumors. Sort of. And then, yeah, it's the Dudleys defending their tag team championships that they just won on SmackDown thanks to Stone Cold Steve Austin bashing Chris Benoit in the back of the head. Benoit could not take down 2 people at once, however, at least until 6 years later, when he had more of an advantage because the referee did not signal for the bell. Oh, this is going well. I'm going to hell for that, and I don't fucking care because Chris Benoit's burning in hell like he should be. And he shouldn't be in the goddamn Hall of Fame. So, we get this tag match, and it was fine. It was typical, like, when Spike was in there, he got a few flurries, and then he got beat up. Kane got the hot tag. He had some good stuff there. And Kane was the Intercontinental Champion. I believe he would lose it to Albert shortly after this, and Albert would hold it for like a cup of coffee, literally, which is about how long X Factor lasted. You're dealing with the X Factor. And we get a bad 3-count botch, which was really hilarious. And then the Dudley Dog got broke up, and then a missed headbutt. Because he tried to do the what's up thing, Devon did, and he totally missed Kane. Totally missed his big red machine. Gained a face full of Kane's big red machine. Have fun on seeing that. And we get 3D for 3. A 3. Okay, that's just not going to work. Table for Spike. But no, Bubba gets chokeslammed through it. Oh no, Bubba got wood all over his back. Given how Bubba's a piece of shit, I really don't feel bad for Bubba taking that. Christian tells Edge, hey, good luck. I just want to tell you good luck. We're all counting on you. That would have been hilarious if he had quoted that. More footage of DDP. And then Billy Gunn is in WWF New York. Remember when WWE had, or when WWF, they had a New York restaurant? Remember that? And it lost them a bunch of money because nobody really wanted to go to a restaurant with WWE, memorabilia and stuff like that. And pay high price stuff for food that was apparently adequate. I was never there. Obviously, I've never been in New York. So if anybody in the comments has been to WWE New York, if you're that old, please let me know how the food was. So anyway, Angle offers Edge a chance to avoid being beaten and say, hey, just forfeit the match or whatever. I think I know you. And then, which was funny. And then they have a match where Angle was targeting the ribs because Edge had those beat up previously when, Rhino had used his massive man beast to scissor him from behind. And then Edge gets launched over the ropes. We get some rest holds. We get a rib spot on the barricade. Edge does come back. We get a ref bump. Shane spears Angle. Impaler. 1, 2, 3. So Shane extends Angle, prevents him from winning the King of the Ring match, or King of the Ring tournament back-to-back. And now we go into that triple threat, or not triple threat, street fight a little bit later. So Edge and Christian talk, and then Angle says he will destroy Shane. By the way, earlier we had Benoit being interviewed by Taz, and he was in a, victim of the crossface shirt. You want to talk about things that haven't aged well? I mean, we know a couple victims of the crossface. They were the last victims of the crossface, actually. Man, I am so going to fucking hell for this. So, Jeff versus X-Pac. Light heavyweight championship match. It was fine. X-Pac sucks chant. Poor X-Pac. He didn't deserve... I mean, I know he was trying to be a heel, but seriously, he didn't deserve that. He was pretty good in the ring. And the girls popped for Jeff removing his shirt. I mean, Jeff was 23 at this point. X-Pac was just shy of 30, which is hard to believe because he had bounced around a lot of companies and been wrestling for quite a while. I think he started when he was 15 or 16. We get a 3 count and foot on the rope, so oh no, Jeff is still in the match and then hits a swanton later and retains the championship. Life goes on. Austin then uses Regal's phone to call Vince, while Tajiri wonders, what am I doing here? The Regal Tajiri pairing was very strange. And then we get more footage of DDP arriving at the arena. It's Sarah. I'm just going to say right now, the camera should not have been anywhere close to Sarah's face like that, because you could just see everything. It was like if she hadn't had clothespins hanging that stuff up, she would have looked like Sable's face after the plastic surgery faded. Yeah, that's a little bit mean, but whatever. Undertaker got a tattoo of Sarah's name right across his goddamn neck and had to get that removed. That's why you don't get tattoos like that, idiots. Seriously, you can love somebody and not be an idiot like that. It's time for you to become famous. Taker and DDP brawl, and DDP gets in a couple shots, gets the shit beat out of him, and runs off. Thanks for coming, DDP. Thanks for, thanks for, leaving all that money on the table from the AOL Time Warner deal. I mean, I don't know if it was 6 months, if it was a year. I have no idea. I don't know about the contractual stuff. I'm pretty certain that DDP probably wishes that he had taken that money. As much as DDP wanted to wrestle, and he may have not had a whole lot of time left in his, full-time career. And unfortunately, like 8 months after this, it was in a European Championship match with Hardcore Holly. He suffered a broken neck on a superplex or something, and he wound down his career, had a brief run in TNA, and then made sporadic appearances, and then did DDP. Why? Of course he did yoga. I mean, and I don't blame it. He saved a lot of people with that. His WWE career, though, fucking whimper. Goddamn whimper of that. And he went off. And then he would end up getting pinned by Sarah on an episode of Raw or SmackDown. Probably coming up pretty soon. It might have been on the one next, the night after this. I'm trying to remember the timeline, but I will be retro-reviewing the Raw episode, and have that up sometime after this. So, Austin then yells at a security guard to tell them when Vince shows up. And then we get Shane versus Angle street fight, and great shit. This was great. I don't know how Shane's head was still attached after this. I don't know how Angle didn't have every bit of nerve shot in his goddamn legs. I don't know how he walked. I don't know how these guys walked in any way, shape, or form out of this. This match holds up 20 years later, and I'm not a fan of hardcore wrestling. I'm not. You guys know that. It sporadically, with some weapons and stuff like that, I think it's overdone now. I think it was overdone in ECW days. I think it was, and since then, even before the rise of shit that started happening with the Monsters Ball matches in TNA, TNA and stuff like that, and WWE going nuts with the hardcore matches. Sometimes they work. This worked. Street fight, pinfall has to take place inside the ring. They did some nice wrestling to start, quite a bit of nice wrestling, and then he was built well. We get trash cans and lids, and we get a shooting star on the can. Shane would bust that out God, what the fuck is it? He would bust that out about 16 years later against AJ Styles at what was it, Mania 33? That's hard to fucking believe. And, the fact that Shane hasn't died doing that shit is a miracle. He sweats a lot, but he hasn't died yet doing those moves. Probably shouldn't wrestle again, but whatever. So, I think I broke my tailbone, said Kurt, because he took a suplex on the floor, and you can brace yourself all you goddamn well want. That's going to fucking hurt. So we get the glass parts. Shane's head bouncing. It just sounded like that. It sounded like a watermelon popping. It sounded so brutal. And then, I believe Shane was even recounted what he said to Angle, like, throw me through that fucking thing. And he throws him through it. Apparently, Vince wanted to come out and send somebody out to stop it. Vince wanted to come out and stop it and just say, no, that's it. And Kurt kept trying to throw him through the other glass and everything, and eventually just threw him through like that, which is good because he had no strength because he broke his tailbone. The fact that he could work through that is a miracle. And I really feel bad. Kurt Angle's apparently dealing with a lot of after effects of all the injuries and everything, so I hope he's going to be okay, and I hope WWE can give him the help he needs. He gave a lot of his body and really beat himself to shit. So much, so much broken glass and blood mother. So, and then blood mother, it sounds like, some kind of weird, like Doom DLC. So, we get, trash can lid to the head. We get, I did like how it was Shane on a box, not, man in a box, but Shane just being put on that because Kurt couldn't carry him to the ring. And they couldn't have the ref do it because it wouldn't look that good. It's like, ref's helping Kurt! Get him! So anyway, Shane hit an angle slam but couldn't make the cover, and then eventually there was a piece of plywood put on the top rope. Kurt hits an Olympic slam, angle slam, whatever you want to call it. 1, 2, 3, wins the match. He goes 2-1 on the night, and this was fantastic. If this had actually been the end of the show, I hate to say it, I don't really think it would have been that bad. You could have put a triple threat on before this, but I understand why they didn't. Now, I hope they swept up a lot of that broken glass, because otherwise the wrestlers would have been walking on, and wrestling in broken glass. So, I did like how they said, Shane McMahon has competed in his final WWE pay-per-view event. Oh, JR. Then Austin saying to the security guard, tell Vince to find me. Brooklyn Brawler just right there. Like, we didn't know it was Brooklyn Brawler as the agent there. Austin versus Benoit versus Jericho. Triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Man, Benoit taking on two people at once in June must have been his specialty. I'll stop saying that when people stop saying that Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame. Actually, I'm not going to stop saying that because that's how I cope. I make bad jokes. It's what I do. This is good. Very good. Jumpstart. Benoit and Jericho tag teaming Austin for a while. Gross. And it was really good stuff. Benoit picks up the rattlesnake and continues to, deliver the beating. And it was really, really good stuff. Benoit was coming in with a bad neck. Austin would end up suffering an injury here too. We get a ref bump, a belt shot. Even though, yes, triple threat matches were like, oh, it's no DQ. They don't announce there's no DQ. It's like, okay, but if one guy hits another guy, then what are you going to do? Declare him the winner and leave the other guy out? Just saying. So, Jericho gets hit in the head with a chair. That was vile. That was vile shit. I mean, because Austin moved in headshot. Thank God they got rid of the headshots. They need to get rid of them in all companies. Whether you can take it or not, you do this. Get your head up. Get your hand up. That's it. If you're going to do that, you just don't need to take that shit head on. That's brutal. Goddamn brutal. Everyone gets a chance to shine. Benoit hits Jericho, with some moves. We did get some nice Germans aplenty. We got a superplex on Jericho earlier by Austin. We get a double submission, but Austin taps out. But since Benoit had the crossface and Jericho had the walls of Jericho, or the Lion Tamer, whatever the fuck they were calling it at that point, they, the referee's like, no, we can't do that, and the crowd boos. We can't declare you guys the winner. So then what are we going to do? Have you guys wrestle? And Booker suddenly runs in when Austin's outside. He hits the axe kick and then launches him through the announcer's table where Austin's head hit the back of a chair and apparently hurt his neck. Again. And Booker's probably thinking, I left all this money and holy fuck, I just injured Stone Cold. Goddamn. I don't think there were any hard feelings, in all honesty. I would like to see Booker T on the Broken Skull sessions, now that I think about it. But Austin was out for a while. We get Jericho and Benoit going at it and everything with some near falls and stuff like that. And then we get the headbutt on Austin once he gets back in there. Brutal. And then a back suplex where Benoit's holding his neck. I think his neck finally gave out, or it's just a way to write it out. But I think he was going to be done. And then Austin covers 1, 2, 3, and that's it. That is it right there. Pretty damn good pay-per-view. Well-paced. I can't say every match was all that great, but the pacing, the crowd was really electric. Dun, 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 dun. And now we move on to the rest of the Invasion angle. I'm going to lose my mind, guys, but I hope you're along for the ride. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.